is, right? Now, if I tell Swamiji, I don't know what Swamiji will think. We think it's a great thing. Swamiji will under already Zoom class itself, e-moksha you're talking about. On top of that, from the hotel room you're teaching. You don't know what this on is. So no, Swamiji, I think you're all you have a lot of Shraddha, Swamiji. Okay, go ahead, Ramachandran. Ramuji.
You're talking about Dhamma being the first and Shama being the later. But
okay,
it is always Shama Dhamma, it is said. It is that way.
Yeah, so Ramuji's question is this. Ramuji's question is, I said Dhamma first, then Shama, but in all Shastram, Shama is mentioned first, then only Dhamma is mentioned. Okay, we can justify that also. Because in order to use Dhamma, I need some Shama. My father told me, my mother told me not to eat this. That much knowledge I have, Shama. And using that knowledge, I use Dhamma and then say, enough, thus far, no further. Okay. The Shama is there, but Shama is weak Shama. Weak Shama. And so I have to use Dhamma even more. And then at some point, I have to sort it all out so that there's no pressure here. I'm free, And so the Shama has to reign supreme. After which Dhamma is not needed at all. When Shama is there, Dhamma is not needed. So, yeah, Shama is always there. Question is how strong it is. Good question, Ramuji. Yeah. Yeah, so everywhere Shama is mentioned first. That's correct. And so Shama is there. But if you don't have enough Shama, you have to use Dhamma. You have to do something, to forcibly do something. Yeah. Anirudh.
Yeah, Guruji, so I had asked about wanted to ask about Jivatma. I think I thought it was a little contradictory in the sense that localization of Atma to a body, how is that? I mean, or for the Jivatma to attain Atma, why do we need to even have that? It's after all Atma that is sustaining everything. So that was what my question was. The Jivatma,
So the question is,
why do we need the Jivat? I mean, why do we need the Jivatma to explain the fact that our buddhi is kalushit, or buddhi is grasped by avidya? Why do we need Jivatma to say that?
Why do you need Jivatma to say that our buddhi is confused?
Yes, our buddhi is confused, or we are suffering from avidya.
So, I don't fully understand your question, but I'll try to answer it, and then if it doesn't, let me know.
Guruji,
we have to talk.
I think Aniji tried to put it last time that it looks as though buddhi is controlling the Jivatma. Why it is it not, Aniji? You were trying to...
No, Miraji, I think this first time I'm asking this question. I may have said something else last time, which was equally confusing. So I'm sorry, I do not.
So
it's not coming back to me.
So, yeah. So, who wants moksha? Finally, you have to come back to the brass
nobody.
tacks.
It's there. Nobody wants moksha.
Then why are you studying? If it is there, why are we sitting here wasting our times?
Oh, okay, so we are the avidya avaran needs to come out. So that's it's a good it's a way to sharpen the sword, so to speak.
Okay, so you just said avidya. You just invoked avidya, and avidya is there. And previously, I took the body to be atma, and therefore atma is anityam. But Shastra is saying Atma is not the body.
Correct.
Body is Atma, but Atma is not the body. And that Atma, which you don't quite know well, you know somewhat, but don't really know completely. You know somewhat because I know I exist, and so Atma exists, I know. But beyond that, I don't know anything. Therefore, that is how avidya nivritti happens. Therefore, then that person, through that Shravana Mananadi, okay,
Agreed. Sure.
gets moksha.
Right.
But after moksha, what happens? Then who got moksha if you say, guess what? Suppose a jnani is there. You ask a jnani, who got moksha? I mean, you put yourself in the shoe of a jnani and ask, who got moksha? Suddenly what will happen, you know? The entity that got moksha is not there. Because technically, everything is Atma.
Correct.
I mistook myself to be bound.
Correct.
Bondage is mithya. Bondage is a notion. Not just mithya, it's a notion. That is what Advaita Siddhanta is. And therefore, bondage is a notion. So suppose after seeing the rope, so you say, where is the snake if you ask? Snake was never there. How will you answer the question, where is the snake? Rope is rope. Snake was never there. But so much drama happened. So much drama happened. Imagine the drama that Avarana and Vikshepa can create.
Right.
Correct?
Right.
That drama is called samsara.
Right.
Therefore, who got moksha if you say, the guy who thought he or she was bound is the one who got moksha.
Correct. Correct.
That guy doesn't exist, but that guy doesn't exist. Technically doesn't. Okay, exists as Jivatma, you can still say, because body is there. The same person is still there. Nothing has changed. But still something has changed. Something very important has changed, and that very important thing is called avidya nivritti. And suppose that jnani cannot say I got moksha also. Because I got moksha means who is that I?
Yeah, yeah, true. True, true, true. True.
Who is that I who got moksha?
True.
So something to think about. Okay,
So,
spend some time thinking about it.
may I? So, is the Jivatma then a short form for referring to the Buddhi, Mana, Indriya complex?
Not necessarily. No. Yeah, it is. The jiva is associated with this complex.
Correct.
One living being who is described by this physical attributes and non-physical attributes. Okay. But after death, Jivatma is going to survive or not?
Atma always survives, no?
Atma is there. Atma doesn't have any no death, anything. But somebody has, there is a Punya Papa, Sanchita Karma is attached to this Karna Shariram. And that is going to go and occupy another body later.
Right.
So therefore, didn't we say one of the Anadi is Jiva?
Sure. Yes.
Shadanadi.
Yes.
Among the Shadanadi, did we say Jiva was Anadi?
Yes.
Jiva is Anadi. So even after this body, Jiva continues to survive. That's why Jiva is there. That's why Punarapi Jananam, Punarapi Mananam. Punarapi Jananam for whom? Punarapi Maranam for whom? Well, the Jiva is continuing. The birth and death is for this particular Sharira. Sharira is born. Sharira is gone. Another Sharira is born. Another Sharira is gone. But Jiva continues to be there and gathers something and gives up something, etc. Punya Papa Mishra continues. Okay? So that's the way we look at it. So you can say body mind sense complex only to the extent that the jiva is associated with this body mind sense complex. during this
Temporarily,
life.
yes. Temporarily,
Correct. Correct. It can't be equal to the body mind sets complex.
it is not. Okay.
Correct.
So sorry, I don't want to extend this too much, but the Jivatma and Atma seems to be that it is opening the door to Dvaita Buddhi. That is why I kind of wanted to get the clarification. Why do we even need to use the word Jivatma?
Correct. Therefore, if I equate the Jivatma to this body, then Dvaita Buddhi is definite.
Yes.
And that's why Dvaitins have difficulty explaining. In fact, Advaita is very easy to explain. I can't explain Vishishtadvaita. I can't explain how going to a particular place is called permanent moksha. It is not possible to explain. Because it is Dvaita Buddhi. And in Dvaita, nothing is Nityam. And in Dvaita Buddhi, yeah, you can, all this travel can be included in that.
Yes.
Travel is acceptable. I will go to the so-and-so place after death is acceptable. I will go to place means what? This body is gone, first of all. So who is going to Vaikuntham? This body is not going to Vaikuntham. And I happily sit around saying, no, God will take care of me in Vaikuntham. But what happens in Vaikuntham? Do you have the same body, same identity? Will you remember that you are a Bhakta of Vishnu in the previous Janma? What is all this? No,
Right.
I will be there. Somehow I'll go there. Vishnu will take care of all that. Why are you worried about all this? And so Vishnu is going to give me moksha and he's going to keep me there. There means then will I have an identity there or not? If I say I have an identity there, because I just said I'm going to be near Vishnu,
Right.
Vishnu is going to take care of me in Vaikuntha. I mean, me exists in Vaikuntha as an identity. Me, as a limited identity, me, because I don't know anything other than a limited identity.
Correct.
And what I have here in this head here, that is what I'm going to project in my Swarga also.
Correct.
Therefore, that limited identity, me, is going to be in Vaikuntha. That's where the story ends as far as Vishishtadvaita is concerned. But you know, this the minute you bring identity, form, and all that, then his form is
this
always
reverse
anything.
avatarvad. Reverse avatarvad. I'm going there. So and remembering everything. So avatar, like I have all the aspects of the avatara, but I'm going from here to a higher place maybe. So reverse.
Right. Right.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. But good questions. So these are the things that we need to contemplate on. Yeah. Mahesh ji, then Prema ji, and then Vijay ji.
Namaste, Vijay Kumar ji. When you talked about saying that the Jivatma basically hops from one body to another, right? So continuing on what you said, so who is getting moksha? Is the Jivatma getting moksha?
Yeah, that's a question all of you have to think about. I mean, I'm giving you the homework.
Because the reason I'm asking, my original question was because when we started this Valli, the first about the rhythm bandho and all that, and I was wondering why Yamaraja introduced two Atmas, a watching Atma and a doing Atma, or enjoying Atma. What is the purpose of those two? Purposely introduced, because all along we said, at least my thinking was Jivatma is there depending upon your accumulate, whether you get jnanam or not. Once you in one sharira you get jnanam, then that Jivatma doesn't go anymore hopping. That there ends, so the samsara ends for that particular entity. So I was wondering why they introduced these two, Paramatma and Jivatma, entering the body and all that.
Yeah, I mean, it is not to be taken literally. It is to be. It is only.
I mean,
meant
what is
to
the purpose of introducing that at all?
That's the way the Upanishad is choosing to say.
Oh,
Nowhere else you'll hear this.
yeah, no,
There is
I watched this video again, and we talked about it in the last Sunday morning class. I mean, Sunday morning for me. But we still couldn't get our heads around that, at least not for me.
No, why is not said? No. Why the Upanishad is saying this is not, we haven't answered that.
I don't know. What I'm
So
saying is whether there is a reason why. No, they didn't explicitly say why, but there's something hidden why they say that, because they use this word of chaya, atapa, and all that. So, then, first of all, they introduced, and all along we telling that only, we also talked about Jivatma and Jiveshwara Aikyam and all in Tattvabodha towards the end. All that, and suddenly we say, oh, two of them enter in somebody's body.
yeah, it's not true. Paramatma cannot be a second anywhere. So first of all, Paramatma entering the Jiva is technically not correct.
Yeah.
Paramatma cannot enter. Paramatma is everything. Everywhere, everything. It is like saying space entered the heart. How can space enter the heart? Heart is in space. Everything, space is there everywhere. Space cannot enter heart. Paramatma entering the body is like saying space entered heart. If space entered heart itself is not a correct statement, how can Paramatma entered the heart be a correct statement? Technically incorrect statement. Therefore, we have to interpret it differently.
Like,
how do you interpret it? Yeah, we interpret it as two possible goals available for this Jiva. Two possible goals.
I mean, no, like for example, in Bhagavad Gita, he explained that, there are two paths. Krishna said that without introducing these two entities, with the same person have either this moksha marga or karma marga, whatever they instead. Same way, earlier in this Kathopanishad also said Shreyas and Prayas. With all that, why is all of a sudden two got introduced? And I thought I missed something, or maybe I don't get it. What is the purpose of? I don't think they just like that would have said without any purpose.
We have to ask Kata Maharshi.
No, I'm saying is they would not have introduced something without just like that.
No, it is not just like that. It is not just like that. We are not saying it is just like that. We are saying that it is meant to show us the Shreyas and Prayo Marga.
But the same thing was explained in Bhagavad Gita without this.
That is Krishna's problem. Or this is Kata's problem. But for us, it's not, neither is a problem, because we know how to interpret it. So it's a different way of saying, that's all. And it's not the usual way of saying it. Because we know where it says Parama. See, the Taittiriya Upanishad also has Pravesha Shruti, okay? It's not that uncommon. Okay. Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma Yo Veda Nihitam Guhayam Parame Vyoman. Sat Tyacha Bhavati Tadanupravishya Anupravishya. Brahman created this world, and then Brahman entered the world. This is common. Taittiriya Upanishad has it. It's called Anupravesha Shruti. They even give a name for this. Okay. Means what? Brahman created the world and then entered the world. Because Brahman did not have any other
prevailing in every Brahman prevails everywhere or pervades everywhere.
So now you are interpreting it there.
No, I'm asking.
I'm saying
that is the only way we have been saying it. that Brahman pervades, like what we said earlier in Sayano, like when you are asleep or when you are in Sushupti, Brahman
Correct.
pervades everywhere, or Atma pervades everywhere.
So they have a way of saying it. Tadanu pravishya satchaticha. After having entered this creation, then it becomes, then it differentiates. Vyashti comes first or samashti comes first?
Samashti.
Samashti comes first. Correct. Unlike the plant and tree, the seedling, it becomes a sprout, and sprout becomes a plant, and plant grows, and then becomes a tree. But here it is the opposite. Samashti comes first. The universe already there, undifferentiated universe. Then it becomes differentiated. That is our model of Srishti.
Yeah, because all along our teaching, I mean, what are, at least in my understanding, what we learned in Bhagavad Gita and so far in Kathopanishad, that we are no different than Ishvara. We are part of Ishvara. They're one and the same. We talked about Paroksha, Paroksha and all that. And the only thing which the Dvaita Buddhi is only because of avidya, which we consider ourselves. And once that illusion is removed, you realize the same. Both you and Ishvara are same. That's what. Then all of a sudden this came, so I kind of, it threw me off track. Let me put it this way.
Agreed. It does throw you off. Agreed.
So I don't understand. So that's the reason I wanted to ask.
Let it not throw you from your vision of Advaita. Your vision of Advaita is solid, and let it remain like that. Yeah, Premaji.
Thank you.
Go ahead and unmute yourself, Premaji.
Yeah, Guruji, coming back to the reference of the rope and the mistaken identity, you said you can't experience the rope because you are the rope. And rope is what makes every experience possible. So I am the rope that is omniscient. It just is. The drama starts with the mind imposing a snake on the rope. Intellect takes the stance that it is dangerous, and ego assumes fear. My aberration is assuming the rope to be a snake. I already know as I am the rope, my true self. Where did I go wrong?
No, so where did I go wrong? You just mentioned where you went wrong. You took the rope to be the snake, you just said. So that is where I went wrong, or that is where we went wrong. And so whenever an object is taken to be something other than what the object is, we say there is a mistake being made. Okay. Now, the rope snake example, both are of the same order of reality. Same order of reality means what? It is within this Vyavaharika Satyam. Okay, snake may be Pratibhasika Satyam because it is an imagined thing. But neither of them is Paramarthikam. The reason we use that example is the Pratibhasika Satyam is superimposed on the Paramarthika, on the Vyavaharika Satyam. That example is used. And likewise, we extend it and saying like that, the Vyavaharika Satyam is superimposed on the Paramarthika Satyam. Just as Pratibhasika Satyam, a dream or a rope snake is superimposed on what? On the Vyavaharika Satyam, rope. Rope is still not Paramarthika Satyam. Rope is also a superimposition on the Paramarthika Satyam. That is the purpose of that rope. And so the reason we went wrong, where did we go wrong? First of all, going wrong is anadi. It's been beginningless. Okay. And went wrong means what? Why we went wrong? We say avidya, of course. This example we've given before, and we can invoke this example again. Suppose we are walking. You're walking on a on a on a path where there are trees. There are some trees here and there. You're walking on a path, and it is twilight. It is getting darker and darker. Previously, when you started walking, it was all okay. You could see everything. But now it's getting darker and there are no lights. And you have to cross this road fast. Otherwise, you may not be able to see properly. So you're going. And then suddenly you see a man in front of you. Now, and then you're afraid. What happened here is, see, there is really, then you go for, somebody says, no, it's not a man. It's just a stump of a tree. It's a stump of a tree, not even a tree. If it is a tree, you might be able to see it. But it's a stump of a tree, and then you mistook that to be a man, to be a person. And standing there like that, therefore that's scary. And so if a man is standing like that, just like that, then it can be scary. Okay, I got scared. Now, the problem is this. When I don't see something clearly, I am forced to. Why don't I say, oh, something is there? Okay, I don't know what that something is. Why don't I just keep quiet like that? That's also okay. That's the reality, actually. There is something. That's why I said twilight. In dark, pitch dark, you can't see what is there. That's why twilight. Some light is there to make out there is something. But not enough light to make out what exactly that something is. And so why can't I say, oh, it's something is there? And okay, let it be there. I just go this way. No, there's something there. There is an elephant there. Big one. There's an elephant coming. Especially in Coimbatore, if you walk to me, that possibility is also there. So because that possibility is there, oh, there is an elephant coming from that. That the problem is previously avarana prevented me from seeing what exactly is there. Okay, let it prevent. That problem is still, there is no problem. So what? I don't see what is there. But then there is something called Vikshepa Shakti, which makes me project something. And something is there. I say elephant is there. I say man is there. I say somebody is hiding in the woods. I say all these things. I'm imagining so many things. Okay, that is just example. Now, come back to the real me. Just like in the example, in this real me, okay, I know I am there, I am a human being, I exist, etc. But you know what? I don't know who I am. And if I don't know who I am, I can say I don't know who I am. No, nobody. You ask anybody, ask them who they are. Everybody says they know who they are. Whatever they say, they will say something. Who are you? They will say something. No, fundamentally, who are you? Oh, fundamentally, I'm a human being. Yeah, I'm an engineer, this, that, etc. Father, mother, brother, sister, all that is there. No. Fundamentally, I'm an engineer. No. What do you mean engineer? Engineer is with respect to your profession. Chodo, profession ko chodo. If you didn't have a profession, who are you? Oh, like that. And father? No. Father is with respect to children. Don't say anything that has a relationship. I'm a human being. Hey, human being also with respect to all the other species, you're saying you're a human being. I'm not this animal. I'm not a reptile. I'm not this. Therefore, I'm a human. Oh, so like this, we are forced to make an assumption, right? We are forced. Nobody says I don't know who I am. Yet we are sitting in a Vedanta class and we are starting with the assumption that I don't know who I am. Therefore, I want to study. That's the biggest, that's the beauty of the Shastram also. And so we are back to your question of where did I make a mistake? Just like you made a mistake while walking on the street, on this dimly lit street, you have no choice. That is Vikshepa Shakti is operating, and we will make a mistake. If you see something and you have to make something out of it, at least you have to say, I see something, I don't know what it is. But in this case, I don't say I exist, I don't know what I am. I know what I am, and I make a wrong conclusion. I think it's the right conclusion. And because everybody says the same thing, we all must be correct. So that's the way we we look at this problem.
Mhm. So in today's talk, you mentioned Jnana Yoga Vijaya Bhavaha and the Adhikaratva Bhave. So what happens is, I would like to connect it to Sannishtha. And Sannishtha is moksha exists. There is an awareness within us, whether it is Vikshepa or not. So how does the three connect?
Three means which three?
The three is the ignorance of myself as to who I am, which is again superimposed because you definitely know who you are, but you're not accepting it for whatever reason. And then the second is what you see, the vikshepa, the distortion on the outside. And the sannishtha is the common factor there, the moksha. We are three beings. So how this adhikaratva bhave, because of the chitta shuddhi factor, but then it gives so many options. I'm trying to connect. If it is so, yes.
Yeah, so the fundamental problem comes from not recognizing myself for who I am fundamentally. Correct? I only talk about myself with respect to my body, with respect to my relationships, with respect to my accomplishments, with respect to where I'm located. I am in Hyderabad, I am in Coimbatore. I say all these things. That's all with respect to something. Within time and space, I have to constantly relate with time or space and then define myself. Shastram says that is not the definition of the self. Correct? You can't define any definition you give to yourself right now is based on something else.
So that's not relative.
That definition that I give is relative. Shastram's definition is not relative. Shastram is asking, give me an absolute definition of self. Absolute definition, I don't know. Because nobody taught me. Why I don't know? If I am Atma, why I don't know absolute definition? This is the magic. This is called magic. This is Maya. So that is how it is. The fundamental problem. If we understand it this way, then Advaita becomes simple. Why simple? I mean, simple means I'm not diminishing the importance of the study. Simple means, okay, fundamental problem is ajnana. I don't know who I am. And I is not this body. If I take I to be the body, of course I'm limited. Advaita does not make the body unlimited. No, not possible. It doesn't do all that. And so that understanding the fundamental problem is crucial. And Ajnana Nivritti, Shastram promises that, yeah, once Shastram has to unfold, what then, if I am not this body, then who am I? That is the responsibility of the Shastram, of the teacher, etc. Right?
And even if I am taught, I should have the eligibility to understand. That's also another factor involved.
Can you repeat that first word I missed?
I said, even if I am taught, you said when you are taught, you come to understand. But the thing is, I must also have the eligibility to understand. I must be at a certain state where it makes sense to me, right? So that's where I was thinking, if the Sannishtha or the moksha will be there, will be there. Moksha is already there. because it's already, so only the adhikaratva bhava is not there.
Adhikaritva bhava is something that originally is not there. Later on, it grows upon us. And then that prepares us to do the Shravanam, Mananam, and Nididhyasanam. The fact that we are doing it shows we have Adhikaritvam in good measure. In good measure, because otherwise this will be a meaningless discussion. This will be a meaningless discussion. To say, who am I? The question itself is a meaningless question. I told you the example. Once, when I was in the 1990 or so, when I was doing my PhD, there was a poster on the notice board in our department at Purdue University, Chemical Engineering, notice board. This is a notice called Talk by Pujya Swami Dayananda in Indianapolis. Title, Who Am I? Okay. I looked at this poster and I said, it didn't make any sense to me at all. Any sense means zero sense. I talked to myself, who am I? Why would anybody not know who they are? And I ignored it. I ignored it completely. My classmate Vaidya comes to me later on, a week later. Vaidya is there in our class. He looks at the same poster. We are in the same college, same department. He asked me, why did you not come to Indianapolis? See the difference? Okay. And so that is what it is. So for one person, it makes a lot of sense. For another person, it doesn't make sense. Why didn't make sense? Adhikaritvam is not there. Priorities are very, very different. And proper chintanam has not happened. Pariksha Lokan Karma Chitan has not happened. Pariksha nahi kiya. Happy with however things are. Looking forward to greater and better things. Then all this will not make sense. Otherwise, there is other person. Viveka Vairagya means what? One who has assessed what the world is all about, what is life all about. Viveka Vairagya are technical words. But in general, if you want to say, you're saying, okay, one who understands that life is, what are the attributes of life, and will it get me what I'm really looking for? And if the answer is a clear no, then Advaita Vedanta just shines in our lives. Otherwise, we can't have a discussion like this and smile and keep coming back, class after class after class, we're coming back, which means that Advaita Siddhi is like that. Anyway, it's a long answer to your short question. So where did I go wrong was your original question. And so, in a way, we won't say I went wrong because this Jiva is Anadi. I've been going wrong for a long time. For a long time, I've been wrong. Okay. So where did I go wrong? Better to ask what exactly is the problem.
Yeah, what can I do to resolve it?
Once I understand what the problem, once I understand, that's why in Advaita Vedanta, understanding the problem is critical. In Vishishta Advaita, it is not critical. Vishishta Advaita, everything is Satyam. Body is Satyam, I am Satyam, Ishvara is Satyam, the world is Satyam. Everything is Satyam. And you are not going to be fully happy in this world, therefore you must go out there. It's all predetermined. So there's no, is there any doubt in that? Nobody can have any doubt in this. Just like you are going from Delhi to Bangalore, you have to go from Bhuloka to Swargaloka. And I can't, there is nobody, no human being can, you don't need a ticket for that. The only ticket for that is, you have to be a Vaishnava. You must be a Tivra Bhakta. And you must also die. Two qualifications are different. You must be a Tivra Bhakta and you must be die also, because that is also a requirement to go to Swarga. Let's not forget that.
Yeah.
So therefore, the understanding that problem is critical, in my opinion. Swamiji always would say, he will say, he has written a book called Introduction to Vedanta and subnote, understanding the fundamental problem. That is a critical part of Vedanta. Because our Vedanta is trying to solve a problem which really doesn't exist. Eva, remember that Eva word, as though. That as though is critical in Vedanta. And one word makes a whole world of difference. Yeah. Thank you for
Jai
your
Guruji.
questions. Very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, Prasadji, go ahead.
Yes, Jai Guruji. So the fundamental question which we started, like, who is liberated? So I think if I think of it beyond the body, mind, and sense complex, if I think of the Chetana versus Chit, now because the Chetana itself is the knower at some point, or thinker at some point, or enjoyer at some point, in the sense of body, mind, and intellect, for example. So so the pure consciousness is indeed different from Chetana, but Chetana is Chit. So instead of thinking of mind as Jiva, we are thinking about, if I limit to body, mind, and all that, I get confusion, because the whole thing is becoming, awareness comes to that because of Chetana, right? So at the time of my enlightenment, it is the Chetana which is actually, even in the transmigration also, the consciousness which is in the form of reflected consciousness, Chetana, would move from body to body. I mean, from one life to the other life, if that is correct. So at the end of it, it is basically the Chetana that is important, but it is pure consciousness that is important, right? I mean, there is only Phala Vyapti will not be there, only Vritti Vyapti is there, which means who is liberated is like, actually, it is again, it is false, because it is just knowing that I am Chit, or the pure consciousness. The snake is false. The appearance of snake is false. Disappearance of snake is false. At the end of it, even the knowledge associated with the disappearance of the snake is also false, right? So my point is that when we talk about Jiva, who is liberated, it's more important to understand between the Chetana versus Chit. I mean, that is correct. I just wanted to clarify that.
It is different from Chetana Vastu, you're saying, right?
It is important to just note Jiva is like how I'm getting consciousness. That is the one which is actually at the point of liberation. That is more important rather than body, mind, all those things. I mean, thinking of Jiva not equal to mind, body, and all that, but it is basically that awareness. But in the Upadhi, which is actually the Chetana. So that's what is more important when you talk about Jiva. So that's
Correct.
what my...
Correct. Because Atma does not want moksha. Atma is not asking for moksha. Brahma is not asking for moksha. Ishvara is not asking for moksha. But there is a being who says, I am totally dissatisfied. I don't think there is any hope for me. Suppose that there is a being like that. That person is told, okay, now you relax for a while. And then that person is an entity. And we are right away know that person is not the body, really speaking. Because if you ask that same person who is depressed, is the body depressed? No, body is not depressed. Oh, so body is not depressed means the entire physical part is gone. Then who is depressed? Oh, mind is depressed. Okay, fine. Mind is depressed. So that person has to be told, okay, mind is depressed. Do you know that the mind is depressed? Or is the mind knocking on your door and saying, hey, wait, pay attention to me, that is depressed? No. I know that the mind is depressed. You know that the mind is depressed? Oh, really? Then that's where Vedanta begins, right? Vedanta begins. And if you know something, that something has to be different from you. If I know something, if I know the pen, The pen has to be different from me. Okay, see, that's a problem with all this blur screen. Can't see it. So then whatever I say, I know, I see, I hear, has to be different from me. Yad drishyam tad anyat. And so if I say mind, I'm glad you said my mind is depressed, because that means there is me and then there is my mind. There is me, which is separate from my mind. I'm glad you said my mind is depressed. That's better than saying I am depressed. Yeah, I know my mind is depressed. It's not fun to say, to have a depressed mind. I agree with that. We need to work on it. But yeah, so that slowly that distance between myself and the mind is unfolded to the person who wants that kind of help. And then immediately after the repression is gone, then the question will come. Then tell me, who is that I? Right? Depression has to go, because a depressed person cannot study Shastra. Some depression at least must be manageable, not. And then after a while, depression will go. And that person will ask, okay, tell me who this I is. Will I ever get depressed? No, Atma cannot get depressed. So like this, we have to start. And so you're right. So that various words we use, Jiva, Ahankara, Chidabhasa, all these words are almost synonymous. In different contexts, they're used. And so the person who says, I am depressed, you look for that I that is depressed, and you can't find it. You really can't find it. You can say, my mind is depressed. Okay, that's good. So mind is localized here. Then my mind, then who is that mind then? Who is the owner of that mind that is depressed? You look for that owner is not available. Doesn't seem to be available. So that's why we asked this question, who got moksha? And but it's clear, one thing is clear. I feel I am bound. I am bound. Then I say, I begin to realize that there is some problem here. When it comes to my body, mind, sense complex, I have not really understood this properly. That much clarity is there. Therefore, this moksha pursuit also becomes clear. And who is studying, who is the shishya, etc. All those questions come. That's fine. I am the shishya, you're the teacher, all that is fine. And then slowly that division is all becomes understood as mithya, and that I, Atma, cannot be bound. And I have mistaken that all pervasive Atma to be a bound jiva. And guess what? Even after having understood all this, the jiva continues to be there. Doesn't vanish, vaporized, because Atma is all pervasive, and jiva also is gone. No, jiva cannot go anywhere. Until this sharira is there, jiva will very much be there. Even a jnani has a jivatma, but the jivatma is understood very clearly as mithya. Kartrutvam is there, but it is mithya. Abhasa kartrutvam, all those words we will see later on.
I also get a doubt, like when a Jivatma, when the transmigration happens, it includes the Chidabhasa, but it is the Chit is always, it's all pervading. Why should the Jivatma should have again Chidabhasa when the transmigration happens?
Well, I mean, it's like the ocean and wave. Wave as an identity. Wave as an identity. And then the wave disappears. Then again another wave is born. Okay, there we don't have a connection between the second wave and the first wave. No connection is there. Only connection is it's all water. Okay. Here also it is similar. The difference is there is a connection between this jiva and that jiva. My next birth and this birth, there is a connection. Whereas the next wave that comes and the wave that is gone, there is no connection. Because they have no karma. Wave doesn't have any karma. But here karma is there, and so that karma has to be carried forward. And we say the karana sharira. Sometimes we use the word jiva. Sometimes we use the word chidabhasa. Karna Sharira is a better usage, I think, because that is a seed. Karna Sharira is a seed. The seed is there means wherever the seed sprouts, it has opportunity. It needs a Sharira for that opportunity to sprout. And so we use the word Karna Sharira. But Karna Shariram is also Atma only. But it has an identity.
Potential state.
Potential, correct. All right, so we have to stop here. Today conference is starting much earlier. Yesterday it was 11 o'clock, but now it is 9:15 was the reporting time today. So,
Yagumanji, where you are speaking today?
so I'm in Delhi now.
Whom are you addressing today?
This is the Indian Council for Cultural Relations, which is part of the ICCR, which is part of Ministry of Culture.
Okay. Thank you.
So I'll tell you more after.
No problem.
In the next
Just
session.
inquisitive.
No, I spoke about it in the yesterday's Bhagavad Gita class.
Okay, I couldn't attend that today. Okay.
That's exactly. Okay. All right. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasude. Anuradha ji, you also had a question. Please ask in the next class. She had a very good question. So we will cover it in the next class. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Dhanvantaraye Amrita Kalasha Hastaya Sarvamaya Vinashanaya Trailokyanataya Shri Mahavishnave Namaha. Thank you.